Hello, hello. How are we doing today? My name's Tyler, host of Monday Night's Player Profiler. Today we'll be doing just an NFL mock draft via PFF Simulator. Thought that might be fun. We're obviously 3 days away from the draft, 4 days if you want to count today. Nonetheless, it is draft week, ladies and gentlemen, and I have never actually released a mock draft, done a mock draft. I'm very in tune with kind of some of the players, but just really excited to hop into a mock draft. I have some trades already panned out. This is going to be kind of a mixture of what I would do and a mixture of kind of what I'm hearing. I consume a lot of kind of draft content. I'm kind of in tune. I feel like I'm in tune, I should say, with what the reports are, what the Rappaport's saying, what Schefter's saying, Todd McShay, all these talking heads. But that's all coming up right after we hit the little mini bumper here. All right, we have the mock draft open. Here we go. Jeremiah's in here. What's going on? What's good, baby? How are we doing today? So let's just dive right into this mock right away. So obviously we got the Bears on the clock. We kind of know what to expect from the Bears. So let's start this draft and let's get after it. So first pick here. I mean, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. We're going to go Caleb Williams here. I don't see how Caleb Williams is in the pick. The book says he's the pick. The Bears say he's the pick. Bears haven't brought in anybody else for a pre-draft visit, nor the quarterbacks, unlike the Commanders, who have maybe ruffled Jaden Daniels' feathers a little bit. But speaking of Jaden Daniels, we're going to go Jaden Daniels at pick 2, and he's actually quite far down this. I was messing around with this today, and he's actually quite far down this PFF ranking. They have him at rank 21 right here. So, but Jaden Daniels seems to be the pick. Obviously, I think he's minus 350 to go to Washington now, but I will say the books is a good indication of kind of where some guys may go. But I remember distinctly last year, like a week before the draft, a couple days before the draft, Will Levis was like minus 400, like 400 to go like top 5. Like everyone, like I think it was like the worst kept secret that he was. That's a term that gets thrown around a ton now. It's the worst kept secret. The worst kept secret that was Will Levis was going to the Colts, and turned out they bamboozled everybody. Take Anthony Richardson at 4. So I'd love to see that. But we're going to go Jaden Daniels here. I think he's the pick. Schefter said it's probable that he's the pick. So we're just going to listen to what Schefter said. We're trying to go for as much real life stuff that could happen here. And I think it would be silly to kind of go anybody other than Jaden Daniels. So let's do that. Select Jaden there. And at 3, this is kind of where the draft starts in my mind. There's a lot of rumors. Minnesota's going to trade up to get Drake May, but the past couple of days, you kind of heard some rumblings saying it's going to take a Godfather offer to get up to 3. And Schefter was talking about it today on Pat McAfee, and he said it's more likely the Pats trade their pick than the Commanders, but it's more likely than not that the Patriots select a quarterback at pick 3. They stay at pick 3. And obviously, if they're picking at pick 3, it's going to be Drake May. So that's what we're going to go with in this mock draft. Drake May is a New England Patriot. I'm sure Bill Simmons, you see him tweeting out, probably the most famous Boston sports fan. He wants Drake May at 3. And not saying that his voice means anything, but I do think it's kind of funny to watch him post memes of himself on Twitter. If you haven't seen it, go check out Bill Simmons' feed today. He posted a meme of himself. Anyways, we got Drake May at 3. And then this next pick, some speculation, the Cardinals could trade out of this pick. Last year they obviously did the trade down with the Texans. So they trade down. The Texans come back up to get Will Anderson. Cardinals trade down, and they trade back up to, I believe, 7 to select Paris Johnson. Could definitely do that again this year. Just because they did it last year doesn't mean they're going to do it this year. That's probably not a thing that they're just going to do every year. But it is still nice to know that what's that guy's name? I can't remember his name. The Arizona GM. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember, but I think they stay and pick here. I truly think they stay and they pick Marvin Harrison. I think Malik Neighbors is my wide receiver 1, but Marvin Harrison Jr., Daniel Jeremiah has said, Todd McShay has said he is the most NFL ready player among any position in this draft class. So I think they need a receiver. Obviously it's a huge need right now. Their wide receiver 1 is Michael Wilson. It's Greg Dortch. Like, they need a bona fide receiver. Pair him with Kyler Murray. Help your quarterback. I think Marvin Harrison is the pick there. Anthony's in here. Monte Ossenfort. Yeah, see, I knew it was Monte. I was gonna say Scotty. I knew it ended like with like an E, I, whatever, but yeah, Monte Ossenfort. That now it's coming. Thank you for that. But now this is where it gets fun. This is where we have our first trade. I think the Chargers move down, and I think it's with the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings trade up to number 5 to select J.J. McCarthy. So in this deal, what I project may happen is Minnesota's going to give up their 11, their 23, and I think I could see a scenario where it may take 2/3. So maybe a third this year and maybe a fourth next year. I think this is a realistic trade, something we could see. I feel like it's a good deal for both sides. Chargers move down, get some more assets. They got, and again, 2 first-round picks in this draft, and they get a third and a fourth. So I think this may be a similar trade to what we could see on draft day. They move down 6 spots and they get an extra first, third, and fourth. I feel like that's a pretty good haul for them, considering they have a lot of needs they need to fill. So I think we roll with this trade, and obviously they get number 5 off of the trade, and it's accepted. It is accepted. So now the Vikings are on the clock, and they are going to take their guy, J.J. McCarthy, at number 5. If you follow Thor Nystrom on Twitter, he's been pushing for this for the past probably 5 months, maybe not 5 months, probably closer to 3. But nevertheless, the Vikings get their quarterback, a guy that is really good. They're almost destined to draft a quarterback in this draft class. We don't know exactly who it's going to be, but whoever it is, in terms of fantasy football, it's going to be a great, great, great landing spot for that quarterback. Minnesota, they have play calling, they have weapons, good O-line, good culture. They're constantly voted one of the top organizations in those end-of-the-year polls. So great landing spot for J.J. McCarthy or any quarterback that goes there. And that brings us to number 6. Let's say in this scenario, the Giants miss out on J.J. McCarthy. The Vikings come up and snag them from the Giants. So the Giants are probably just going to stick and pick here, and they're going to draft one of the best playmakers in this draft, and that is Malik Neighbors, somebody I personally have over Marvin Harrison. I think Marvin Harrison has a higher floor, but I think Malik Neighbors has those traits. He has more twitch, a little bit more speed, athleticism than Marvin Harrison. He, I think, has a higher potential ceiling than Marvin Harrison. So I'm going to go Neighbors at 6. They need a weapon there. Right now it's Wan'Dale. Darren Waller may retire. He may not. We're not entirely sure about that. I think this is a good pick for the Giants, someone to really just bring some life back into that offense. You lose Saquon Barkley. You need some electricity going in New York. They don't want to watch, kind of remember when Ben DiNucci kind of came right? Like, he came in and they didn't trust him to throw the ball. They ran it. They just were terrible. They were absolutely terrible. Malik Neighbors is going to breathe some life into this offense. And if Daniel Jones can start the season, maybe he stays healthy this season, I think Neighbors is again, it's not looked at as a great landing spot, but if Daniel Jones plays a majority of the games, let's say he maybe misses a week or two with the ACL, we'll see how that whole injury plays out. But if Daniel Jones is the starter, I think Malik Neighbors, this is a good spot for him in terms of fantasy football for 2024 and beyond. Brian Daboll, we've seen what he did with Diggs in Buffalo. I think this could be a similar type of thing where they're going to get this guy the ball. If Brian Daboll knows how to do anything, he gets his best players the ball, and that's all we care about for fantasy. So now we're down to pick 7, and this feels like a no-brainer. If you would have asked this question before for agency, you probably think the Titans would get another playmaker to help out Will Levis, but I think they go tackle here. They drafted Peter Skoronski last year. I think they go Joe Alt, who's kind of the universal best tackle in this class, looked at as a generational talent. And if you're Will Levis or you're just a member of that Tennessee offense, like, this is a great, great pick. Like, they signed some guards in free agency. They drafted Skoronski last year. So you're really investing in that O-line, which for a rebuilding team like the Titans, like, they kind of did a quick rebuild, like couple bad years the past couple years, but this is kind of a season where they're probably going to be looking on the up and up. They have a new coach, an entirely new offensive philosophy. This isn't going to be a Derrick Henry run the ball 25 times a game, and then let's see if we can just get anything for the passing game. I think it's going to be a little bit more balanced. You got Tajay Spears, you got Pollard, Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, Treylon Burks, maybe if he can give you anything, Chigakonkwo. So I think they invest back in the offense, offensive-minded head coach. You take the best player available, and the best player available left on the board is Joe Alt. So that takes us to number 8. Now, if you didn't know, I'm a diehard Falcons fan, so I've been pretty in tune kind of with what the selection may be here. And well, first off, let's see if Minnesota gets this pick or not. There's some rumors out there that the Vikings could swap picks with Falcons, which, not gonna lie, I am pretty scared that that may happen. I don't think they did anything first round worthy. Like, I could see maybe them taking a third, taking a fourth, maybe even a second, but a first pick, like, swap, it's just, I don't know. Maybe they pick at 11, maybe they pick at 8. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens come draft day. But let's just assume they pick at 8, and I think we're going to go. Now, this may be a surprise to some people, but what I've been hearing through the grapevine, there's a Falcons kind of source that I follow. He's got a source in the Falcons organization. You may know. He was breaking stuff during free agency. He was on top of all of it. Sounds like the Falcons have Latu on the top of their draft board. So he's going to be the first defensive player taken in this draft, going to the Falcons. Dallas Turner has been a player that's been mocked to the Falcons. I think I even saw something Michael Penix. I don't expect that to happen, but I think Latu, there were some injury concerns. He had some neck stuff going on, was not medically cleared to play football for a year or two there, kind of came back. But it sounds like if teams who have got his medicals, it seems like they check out Latu. If we just go by his game, a lot of scouts have him as the best edge in this class, best pass rusher in this class, something the Falcons have desperately lacked for a long time here. They've been near the league bottom in total amount of sacks, and Latu, I think, would definitely bring a nice presence to that pass rush in Atlanta. So now we're on the clock with the Bears. Now, I think I could have gone at 8. I think the Falcons are definitely a trade down team this year. You know, a Dunze's still on the board. A team might want him. But the Bears, like, this is definitely a spot they could trade out of. Like, now, teams who would probably want to come up and trade for a Dunze, a team like the Colts could come up and trade for a Dunze. A team like the Raiders, get another wide receiver opposite of Devontae Adams. Maybe even the Chargers, they need a wide receiver as well. So definitely a trade down spot for the Bears here. And you know what? Let's make a trade. We are going to trade with the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts have been a team that have, they've been in some reports about possibly trading up, grabbing one of these elite receivers. Peter Schrager, I believe, had Malik Neighbors go into the Colts. I think maybe they just love a Dunze here, right? They're willing to trade up. What is this? 6 spots to come get a Dunze. So in this trade, we are going to send obviously the 15th pick, and I think the second round pick next year, and then maybe a future 5th. I'm not too good with the trade stuff, but this feels like a haul that they could definitely get. Like, this doesn't feel crazy. Is this crazy to anyone else? Like I said, I'm not too in tune with what trades, kind of like what the fair value is, but this feels like a decent trade. Let's offer it. And we're trade not accepted. We're just gonna force the trade. Okay, I don't know. I don't know the exact parameters of the trade, but this is only a first round mock. So for the sake of argument, let's just go with this and let's draft the player. They come up, they get a Dunze, and there we go. A Dunze is an Indianapolis Colt. There we go. Dude, absolutely no clue on how to trade values. LOL. Shut up, Jason. I don't need your negativity here. I said whatever. This is the first round mock draft, so the future stuff, don't listen to me when it comes to trade value. Just, we're gonna do a first round thing. That's kind of the deal. Anyways, Jets on the clock at 10. Now, I don't see a situation where Brock Bowers is on the board at 10 and the Jets are picking. And here we go. Oh no, I'm agreeing. Okay, I see what you're saying, Jason. Oh, there we go. That's on me. I have absolutely no clue either. Yeah, I have no clue. Yeah, I got you. But Brock Bowers to the Jets, it seems like a slam dunk. He's being mocked there everywhere. And sometimes it's just that easy. I feel like at least once a draft, like last year, Joey Porter, everybody and their mother was mocking Joey Porter to the Steelers. And who did the Steelers pick? They picked Joey Porter. This feels like one of those things where we just kind of know what the pick's going to be. Same thing with the Steelers with Kenny Pickett, right? Everyone was mocking Kenny Pickett to the Steelers, and he went there. So I think it's the same thing with the Jets. They got their O-line help in the offseason, and they need another weapon for Aaron Rodgers. Right now, it's Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. I think they need another pass-catching weapon in New York. Allen Lazard's not going to cut it. You know, maybe you got some nice guys you feel good about coming up, like Jason Brownlee, Xavier Gibson, but they're not Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers comes in, drastically helps this offense. They don't need help on defense, right? Maybe they take O-line here too, really just build that depth. But I think their offense is where it's always been their Achilles heel. Their defense is unbelievable. We know this. They need help on offense. Brock Bowers does that. All right, let's speed it up a little here. I have like 14 minutes left, and we're not even halfway through the mock. But Chargers back on the clock. Now, who do they go here? A lot of different positions they could go. But if you ask me, I think that Jim Harbaugh, he wants to win in the trenches. He's a trenches guy. He loves his O-linemen, and he had 6 of them. There's 6 Michigan O-linemen, I think, in this class, but they don't go with any of them. I think they go Troy Fontenot from Washington, and they take one of these O-linemen. Now, I don't know what the big difference is. I don't know who's ranked higher on people on teams' boards between Fuaga and Fontenot. I think they go Fontenot here. They invest in that O-line, and they go there. Now we're back to the Broncos. Broncos picking, they could go a lot of different ways. Probably need some help on. They need kind of help everywhere, right? They made this trade with Zach Wilson today. Who knows what that ends up being like? But I think, Sean Payton, he's an offensive-minded head coach. I think that matters with some of this stuff here. I've seen some reports maybe they want to grab a corner. So there's that to consider too. But I think they go. I think they go corner here. Actually, get someone opposite Surtain and somebody that I think has a really good chance. We talked about this last week. First corner off the board. I think Terrion Arnold has a really good chance to be the first corner off the board. So we're going to draft him with the 12th pick there. And now the Raiders are on the clock at pick 13. Michael Penix has been a name that's been linked heavily to the Raiders. So you know what? We're just going to go with it here. Michael Penix going to go to the Raiders. It's sometimes it's just that simple. You hear the name and the team, and sometimes it just works out like that. Penix, he goes higher than a lot of people think. I don't think I'd be shocked. Penix, Raider, there we go. Now we're back to the Saints. Saints, the team, could really go any direction. I think they invest in the defense. To be honest, they have a defensive-minded head coach. Byron Murphy is a guy who has been talked a ton about, just absolutely a ton about maybe sneaking into that top 10. I think Todd McShay said that today on Pardon My Take. So I think they go Byron Murphy the second with the 14th pick here. And just simple as that. A stud. A lot of these teams, this is what McShay was saying today, a lot of these teams are looking for that interior pass rush. And Byron Murphy definitely will provide that for a team that he goes to. Also, what better mentor to learn from than Cam Jordan? Not exactly the same position, but, Cam Jordan 4-3 D end. So kind of, more in that trenches role. They lose Onyemata last year to the Falcons. So they don't really have I think they lost another D tackle. So Byron Murphy at 14 there makes a ton of sense. Now Chicago's back on the clock, and they trade down. They give a doomsday to the Colts. And again, I think a lot of teams want them to go offense. They invest a ton in the offense. I think am I crazy to think the Bears are a sleeper team to go defense? Everyone's talking offense with the Bears, but I think they go defense, and I think they take this lockdown corner from Toledo, who absolutely was turning heads at the Senior Bowl, and they go Quinion Mitchell here at the corner position, get a lockdown corner, a ton of great receivers in the NFC North. So, you got Justin Jefferson, you got Addison, you got some of the, those Packers receivers. Some of those guys are really good. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown, maybe Jameson Williams, stuff like that. So Quinion Mitchell to the Bears at 15. Now, Seattle's back on the clock again. Now, this is the perfect definition of a defensive-minded head coach, right? And something that Baltimore, obviously Mike McDonald coming over from Baltimore, something that Baltimore did really well was they took these uber athletic guys and they turn them into studs, right? You got what's that? Oh, I forget his name. Ofe. I forget exactly how to say it. I know it's on the tip of my tongue, but I think they're looking at Dallas Turner here. Huge potential. I think Mike McDonald's the perfect situation for him to go to Seattle. You know, they have some decent pass rushers, but I think Dallas Turner could be a huge difference maker for them with this pick. They go Dallas Turner at pick 16. Now, this is where it gets fun. I think the Jags, I know they signed Gabe Davis. But I think they're looking to add in that receiver room. And we got some big names left on the board. Adonai Mitchell, Brian Thomas, Troy Franklin. And now Adam Schefter said he thinks Adonai Mitchell is going to go a lot higher than people think. So this is a bit of a, kind of playing off that. Adonai Mitchell's being mocked, second round, late first. I'm going to believe Adam Schefter, and I think he goes to 17 at the Jags, higher than people think. We always get one of those a year where someone just goes like, wow, I can't believe that happened, right? I think it's Adonai Mitchell goes to the Jags at 17. Now, you could say Brian Thomas Jr. as well, but Brian Thomas Jr. is kind of just like a Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis-ish, where he's not necessarily known for his route running, big guy, deep threat, kind of like Gabe Davis is. I think Adonai Mitchell solves, that X receiver. Christian Kirk's going to be in the slot. Gabe Davis outside. You put Adonai Mitchell as an X receiver on the other side of that formation. Perfect fit here, in my opinion, for Jacksonville. Now, we're talking about all these rookies, all these offensive rookies. They're going to dominate this draft. So I think it's only fitting that we listen to the Podfather talk about the rookie guide.
It is NFL draft season and the wait is over. The Player Profiler Rookie Guide is available. It's live on the site now. Right there in the nav bar, click on the 2024 Rookie Guide to download it. It's so comprehensive. We're ranking and writing up more players than anybody. And this year, we're providing athleticism scores. We're doubling the number of advanced stats on each player profile. And guess who's back? Cody Carpentier. But it's not just him. It's Theo. It's Matty Kiwoom. It's John Lobb. And the Undroppables. All coming together to provide their composite rankings. And this year we're adding Superflex Tight End Premium because that's now become such a popular format. So get those composite ranks, get the write-ups, the comps, the stats and metrics you want. If you already have Dynasty Lux, you already have it. But if you don't, it's right there in the nav bar on playerprofiler.com. It's $20. It's not the first. It's not the most expensive, but it is the best.
There we go. Go get the rookie guide, baby. I wrote up Blake Corum, Jamari Thrash, and Jalen McMillan. Jalen McMillan, guy that I really like. After writing him up, I liked him 10 times more than I did before. But let's get back to the mock draft here. Bengals are on the clock. They could definitely go in a ton of different directions as well. Maybe they draft a receiver in anticipation that T. Higgins isn't on the team next year. Definitely an interesting place for them here when you're looking at all these different these guys on the board. But you know what? They need to protect Joe Burrow. Let me say that again. They need to protect Joe Burrow. They signed Orlando Brown in free agency last year, but they lose Jonah Williams in free agency this year, I believe, or was it last year? Either way, they need another tackle, somebody who can come in, protect Burrow. Something that they haven't really. He tore the ACL. He had the thumb thing. Maybe that's not really a protection issue, but I think they're going to invest in a line here. With these tackles left on the board, they're going to go Fuaga here. Kind of just who do you like at this moment? But I think they go tackle there. Now the Rams are back on the clock, and I think they kind of look at some of these guys left on defense, and it was a growing defense last year. The offense was definitely the strong part of that team, and I think they're looking at a guy like Cooper DeJean here. Cooper DeJean. I always forget how to say his name, but they lose Jalen Ramsey, they lose a couple other guys, and it just feels like the perfect fit. Uber athletic corner. Get him back. Get him to Los Angeles. Just by all accounts, seems to be a great organization. So I think that's a great pick here. He fought. I mean, PFF has him at rank 8, and I think this is a steal here at pick 19. So we're gonna send Cooper DeJean to the Rams. They get their guy. They get some help on the defense. And now that brings us to the Steelers. Now the Steelers are interesting. I think they take Fashanu. Fashanu, he's from in Pennsylvania. The area scouts, they probably got to watch this guy play a lot. O-line's definitely a position that the Steelers could get help at. I can't remember the last time they drafted a O-lineman in the first round. I don't know if I'm wrong, then correct me, but a great player here, still sitting here at 20. Let's go there. And then it brings us to the Dolphins at pick 21. Now, Theo Greminger said this. I think it was on Sonic Truth. If Xavier Worthy is there at pick 21, he's going to be a Dolphin. And I 100% agree. The Dolphins are 100% a team that would just say, F it. We're going to add we're going to fully commit to the bit, have the fastest roster in the NFL. Like, oh yeah, we have Tyreek Hill, we have Waddle, Mostert, Achon, all those guys. That's Jonnu Smith, very athletic tight end. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to add a strength to our strength. We're going to go Xavier Worthy at pick 21 and just say F you to the rest of the league. Have fun guarding us. Get ready. Get ready to learn cover 4, buddy. That's what this pick is right here. So now that brings us to the Eagles at pick 22. They could go in a ton of different directions as well. I don't like that Johnny Newton is still here at pick 11, but they spend so much on interior D linemen. I don't think that's the pick here. You know what? I think they kind of go for a guy like they get a corner. Their cornerback play last year was atrocious. They let up a ton of yards at the end of the season. I think they go after a guy, not Nate Wiggins, but I think Kool-Aid McKinstry is the pick here for the Eagles. They love these SEC big school, but we know the bit with Georgia last year. I think they go back to that SEC pool, elite SEC school, Alabama, Kool-Aid McKinstry, lock it in there. Now the Chargers make their first selection the second selection of this draft, excuse me, because we traded down with the Vikings. And I think they stay in the receiver pool here. I think this is where they go receiver. They're looking for a big play type of guy. They have, Josh Palmer can kind of get open. Quentin Johnson, we'll see what he is. They need an Alpha X, and I think that play here is Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas goes to the Chargers. Deep threat for Justin Herbert. It seems like this makes sense. And Brian Thomas probably going to go, might even go higher than this in the real NFL draft. So I think this is a really good pick for the Chargers here if they can get one of these receivers. I guess it's just who do you like at that moment. But now we are to the Cowboys. Cowboys on the clock. And I think this is where they go D-line. They make a strength to strength. They add to that D-line room. They can get a receiver in the second round. There's a ton of good receivers. They have CeeDee Lamb. I don't think they need to force it. And, I don't think they need to force it and take a guy like Franklin, like McConkey, any of these other guys that are right here. I think they go D-line. Just pair this guy up next to Micah Parsons. Let's just do it. Packers on the clock. I think the Packers are a sneaky team to draft receiver. I don't know if it necessarily be the first round, but I think they're a sneaky team to draft a receiver. We're not going to go that here. I think Amarius Mims is a guy who is getting just uber athletic. If you look at those underdog guys, Josh Norris and them, they have that three cone shuttle stat, where if they kind of land in that category, then they're going to be a bona fide NFL starter. And Amarius Mims didn't run it, but it sounds like he would have hit that threshold where you're going to be really good in the league. So we're going to go tackle here for the Packers. They lose David Bakhtiari, someone who never could stay healthy. I think they get Mims here and establish some consistency at the O-line position. Now, Bucks are on the clock. And this is a team that could go really any position, right? They could go a lot of different directions. Jared Verse, though, is a guy who's still on the board. Some of those other pass rushers in Tampa Bay getting a little older. Todd Bowles, defensive-minded head coach. I think we just go Jared Verse with this selection here. Cardinals now on the clock. And they went Marvin Harrison in the first round. They drafted Paris Johnson last year. I think that they take the best tackle available. Again, really deep tackle class. J.C. Latham, Bama. Lock it in. Bills on the clock. Now everyone's talking receiver to the Bills. Everybody's talking receiver to the Bills, and I'm gonna take the bait. I think they go receiver here as well. Now you lose out on Brian Thomas. You lose out on Adonai Mitchell. So a couple of different selections here. You got Troy Franklin. You got McConkey, and I'm still a believer in Troy Franklin. I think he opens up that deep ball that Josh Allen desperately needs. If you don't have a deep ball with Josh Allen, then what do? You need to surround him with some speed. really put some stress on the defense, make sure they play 2 safeties over the top, and then, that's going to open up the rest of your offense. So I think Troy Franklin establishes that deep threat. It's going to open some more looks for other guys. So Troy Franklin to the Buffalo Bills, lock it in. Now we get to the Lions, a team that desperately needs some secondary help. I think Nate Wiggins does that here. They go corner. They were getting torched at the end of the season, really all year in their secondary. So they go corner here. They take Nate Wiggins from Clemson, who was, remember the 40 time? The 40 time projection for Nate Wiggins was like 0.4 of a second higher than what he actually ran. That was a crazy time. If you guys remember the combine. So now we are back on the clock with the Ravens. The Ravens now, another team who I think is a little sneaky to draft a receiver. They have Zay Flowers. They have Bateman, but he hasn't really panned out. So I think they could go receiver here, but I don't know if I see it. I don't think they necessarily have to go receiver. Now, this is going to be, I think, a bit of a hot take. A bit of a hot take here. But they lose Patrick Queen in free agency. And this Peyton Wilson guy, he impressed at the combine. Speed. If you kind of think of the Ravens, they just want really good football players. And I think Peyton Wilson falls in that kind of category. And they take Peyton Wilson. So now we got 2 picks left, the Niners and the Chiefs. Niners could use some more secondary help. They have a really good front seven. And Tyler Nubin, I'm a huge Minnesota fan. This is a guy I watched play a ton last year. He's for real. Tyler Nubin is for real. I think that, they have I'm blanking on names all of a sudden now. The one safety they have in San Francisco, torn ACL coming out that. I think the Niners are a sneaky team to go defense here. Everyone talks about their front seven, their defense. Their offense is already good too, though. So I think they go safety here, get some secondary help. They go Nubin. And then for the Chiefs, they're going to go receiver. I full-heartedly believe that. Now it's just, who do you got? You got Rashee Rice. You got your yak guy. You got your, let's get a first down guy in Travis Kelce. Sneaky selection here. I think they could fall in love with a guy like Xavier Legette. Call me crazy, but nobody thought they'd draft Rashee Rice last year. Nobody saw them really drafting this guy more. I think Xavier Legette could sneak into the first round. He's that deep threat that they're finally they have Marquise Brown. I get that. But I think Xavier Legette could be one of those guys who truly just, he could go in the first round. Some team's going to fall in love with his size, with his speed. So we're going to go Xavier Legette here, and that's going to conclude this mock draft. Again, that's the first mock draft I've ever done. I got, what grade did I get? Did I get a grade? It doesn't say. Whatever. That's fine. But thanks for watching today. Again, I'm so excited to be going to the draft. Make sure you tune into the draft stream. It's the best one that's going to be on any company's doing it. Any content media company is doing for the NFL draft. Make sure you're tuned into that on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Going to be a blast, and we'll see you in Detroit, baby. Let's go.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.